Hello, this is John Miller, the creator of The Rest of Everest. I think I can safely say that this show is, without a doubt, the most in-depth look into the entire experience of what it takes to climb Everest, as well as some other peaks throughout the Himalayas. But all of the events in this series are shown in chronological order, so if you're new to the show, please go all the way back to episode 000 and watch everything in order. That's truly the best way to enjoy it. Thanks.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience.
Episode 191, landing the MI-17.
Hey, you.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to The Rest of Everest. I'm John Miller, joined as always on season 6 with Brian Block. How you doing, Brian?
Awesome.
Great. It's always awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to spend some time poking around base camp. As all of you know from years of watching The Rest of Everest, a great deal of the time spent on expeditions is spent down at base camp. And so we're gonna take a look at kind of what goes on at this base camp here at Broad Peak. And there's even though it's just basically kind of one team, there's a lot of people on this expedition. So there's a lot going on at base camp. So let's head up there just above Concordia. And let's take a look at what's going on at Broad Peak Base Camp. So here we go.
The high caliber activity and entertainment of base camp. The last couple of days, Jenga has been the hot spot.
I'm totally bringing Jenga with me next time I go out somewhere. Never even thought about it.
When I saw it show up at camp, I was like, we literally paid to have someone carry this in. You know, but at the same time, because it's like the floors that they cut out of this, cook tent are, basically rock and ice. And so it's amazing how level they get it. But to imagine trying to play, it's like, you kind of learn like, well, I don't want to sit on the left side of the table because it tends to shift that way, But everybody played just the same, so.
Yeah, it was a little sped up.
It was amazing. I think our record was something like 33 high or something, before it finally tipped over, which, you spend that much time doing anything, you're going to get pretty good at it.
Yeah.
It was entertaining for me to watch, but Mike, who's sitting there in the front of the picture there, he's our South African guy, and he actually does real estate and such in property owning and management in South Africa, and for whatever reason, all these guys thought it was a great idea to play against him at Monopoly, and for some reason they never won, but super entertaining. They started adding rules like free parking was worth something, but just entertaining to be part of that whole situation.
Base camp. Yeah, get out there. Yeah. Say hello. There we go. Now you're a star.
This was a wash and clean up day
looking
too.
Fresh.
Yeah, I'm fresh.
Very clean now.
Is this your cook?
He did a couple of different things, but he was one of the high altitude
How you
porters.
feeling?
Okay.
Since we had clients,
Feeling good?
they would carry some of their gear.
Feeling clean?
He and Taki,
go.
who's the other guy in the
Be in this,
background
Taki?
there, but he'll be wanting to be part of it always. So, and then we had a couple of guys that were, real strong.
You can almost tell K2's in the
That
background.
helped put in some of the fixed line as well.
Anything you want to say? Feeling good? Yeah? You guys are very strong. You're carrying very well. Good work. Summit, hopefully, huh? Yeah? Put it on the checklist. Take it off. We're watching up at Camp 1 there.
Right at the top of that ridge line
Got a
there.
crew going in.
Now you can really see how steep it is.
Yeah.
Again, you get someone like Marmot or Mountain Harbour that has the big dome.
I love when they sing. I think it's like mandatory. Every northern Pakistani man has to have a great singing voice.
Mr. Musa, yes. And washing
Washing and cleaning?
Yeah.
You're doing a good job cooking.
Good job cooking.
Good work
yeah,
cooking.
This is good. heat is on.
Cook was dam se tu le amo cook in the town setting.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mr. Musali.
He's doing a very good job. Everything's very good so far.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When's barbecue?
Barbecue, yeah.
Soon? I'm excited for barbecue. Very good.
Yeah.
It was so good when we had it at Paiute. So good.
Which is more your region anyway. So.
You guys
It's
go
always a
tomorrow?
little better at the closer camps because then the yak or goat is not so worked out before it gets to cook time.
Well, I was going to say, do you get resupplied?
Yeah. They would shuttle things into Concordia and then they'd run up what we needed. And, there was also kind of an encampment for porters down there so that they could come up and get people as they needed to hike out. Because some people would quit the expedition earlier than others or have reasons to go back earlier. And so, yeah, there's kind of almost like that Concordia area is really kind of a base.
Yeah, both sides. The Pakistan tourism department.
Ministry of Tourism?
The Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
Based out of Gilgit, we got my guy that does the work for me in Pakistan. One of his very close cousins or friends or something is in the department.
Oh, really?
When I had visa problems, he made phone calls. And now we had problems there. So we went. We didn't actually get a chance to meet him.
So, yeah, this is Ed. He's the Australian living in Japan. And he does canyoneering as a profession, but we were talking about some things he had actually spent with his friend Tom, the guy that was doing the splits earlier in the prior episodes. They had come along and they were doing some organization of a potential race that went through China, up over some of the highest passes in the world, and into the Karakoram, on some of these very remote roads. And so he had spent almost a month traveling through, that region of China, meeting the people and learning. And so he was just talking to me about it and trying to find out ways to get sponsorship for a race like this. And but it was amazing, some of the stories that he had of, having to travel at night, in a car with, no lights on in order to get through some areas that they were concerned about. So.
Well, what do you think as far as like financial input? I mean,
Well, North Face has expressed interest in it.
okay.
Which, if I look at the infrastructure that's going to be needed for it and the kind of images that you're going to get out of it and what's going to be seen in the media associated with it, it's definitely going to be with gear companies. There's got to be someone like Marmot or Mountain Harbour, because your dome tent is going to be the standing image of the whole kind of thing, right? So it depends who else gets roped into it. If it was North Face, then it's going to be Dean Carnage's, and a lot of people have issues with that. Well, he has his own profile that it seems that Razor have and maybe other people don't. I don't know how that works, but I'm just from picking up stuff out of the media, there's definitely different camps and all of this. So, again, it doesn't have to be North Face. They're just someone that, obviously interested.
This all reminds me how much I need to get back in contact
I was
with
going
him.
to say, is your vision for this to be an annual thing or every other year, or how do you see this playing out? Is this a one-time deal, or?
I treat it as a one-time thing, and then if it can be, because there's lots of spin-offs you can do from it. I've actually talked with a guy about doing an ultra marathon that's in the Wakhan corridor of Afghanistan.
I don't know if that area is that.
That's safe. It's secure.
Okay.
The guy I'm speaking to is ex-Royal Marine.
Oh yeah.
Not ex, I don't know. That's still fantasy type stuff.
Sure.
But it can be, extreme kind of, all this kind of shit the media loves. So, just Marmot or the companies you deal with have like runners that they have.
Marmot doesn't really focus on runners. Soul has, some athletes.
Yep.
Dean Carnage's again.
Yeah, well, he's in there, but we have a lot of other athletes in there too. Yep. But from my time with Montreal, I know a lot of different people.
Montreal is Colombia and Mount Harbour.
Yeah, so that might, as much as I'd rather have it be in the Marmot emblem, and I'm sure it would be easy to get. It's always easier to get gear. That's what I was asking about the financial aspect of it. I mean, do you think that, to do this is going to be $25,000, and sometimes like with when you're kind of creating this a PR for people, they want to invest in it. And so maybe, you know, the people, the Ministry of Tourism based out of Gilgit wants to put, you know, X amount of dollars towards it, which doesn't have to, I mean, and it doesn't even have to necessarily, and that's what I don't know what the overhead expenses are other than to cover your time.
That's where we've still yet to crunch the numbers to see what the possibilities are. A lot of the stuff's going to be the Chinese side.
Because there's fees to be paid, or what?
Kind of, yeah, fees. I think from what we've seen,
bribes.
The guys up there, the guys that we'd have to go through to get the permits.
Yeah.
Against the Mountaineering Association. They're interested in that. But I see from other dealings we've had with the Chinese, they'd want to get some high-profile Chinese runners in.
Sure.
Which would be sponsored by, you know, the Mozart or these kind of half-assed sort of Chinese companies. Yeah, I don't know. So how much do they would want to? Yeah. Well, you know, hey.
Don't worry, no one's going to hunt you down.
Yeah. Oh, I've said it pretty well. So how much they will want to manipulate their side of it is something that Tom and I have to sit down with bottles of Johnny Walker and work
Better
out.
get the blue label out.
Exactly. This is where Tom's sort of very, very good.
Well, and I think in many instances, like, it's ridiculous. We had this guy in Iowa who was icing down silos to do this ice silo summit thing that Red Bull sponsored for a while.
Yeah.
And they put something like $50,000 into it.
Wow.
You know, and so Red Bull sponsored it. And so this year, you know, like I sponsored it, except for I like gave them, you know, cost on, you know, tents and gear and stuff to give away as top prizes, and I provided like some socks from Point 6 and whatever else. But they said, if you want to be the keynote sponsor of this event, and what does it entail, and that's where you have to build out the ROI so that they know what they're getting for their investment.
And on and on and on.
Yeah, pretty much. It's amazing how many plans you make for other trips and adventures while you're sitting in the middle of an adventure.
Of course.
Nothing lying about around camp, because there's the MI-17 is going to come and it's going to blow everything, right? One landed over there. They can't land on snow, right? They can't, they don't want.
How about right here?
Just kidding.
Okay, you want to explain what's going on here, Brian?
Well, we ended up having one of the female trekkers that came in with her significant other that was on the climb was not doing real great. She had a low blood oxygenation level, and so we decided it was best to get her out. And she had rescue insurance, so I highly recommend having Global Rescue in place if you go to do something like this, because I think it's something like $20,000 to $50,000 depending on where you're located.
Fully destroy most everything that is not nailed down.
Yeah, the Pleasure Palace. But so what was going on was we were going to get her choppered out, and then also our liaison officer, Major Ajaz, and then our hiking cook, Mr. Fida, who was on a prior expedition with me as well. We're all going to jump on board the chopper and make their way all the way back. I believe they were coming out of Skardu.
Not feeling 100%, so he's going to head out. And then Nikki, our trekkers, they're going to even train.
So this is, again, this is all one group primarily, or
yeah,
or it only is one group.
Yeah, this is all just us. There's 21 of us, and then like
Hate to see you lose something fun
6
like
support
gloves.
staff
Yeah.
between altitude porters and cook staff that stays at base camp full time. And everybody has their own base camp tent.
He's going to circle around. He'll either come in this way and around like that, or he's going to come in this way and around like that.
Okay.
He's going to come in, he's going to test the wind a few times, and he's going to attempt to land, hopefully, down there where Taki and Aziz are.
They're building out a platform, a big H, or?
Yeah, well, I don't know what we're going to use. We don't actually have any...
red powder.
Well, we have tang.
Yeah, I was just saying. Hate to use that up, though. It's kind of a precious commodity.
Yeah, right.
Unless they're bringing in some flavored tang. Luis's tent's all zipped up. It looked like it was anchored.
That's good.
Which one is...
So, the Major's going, and Feeder's going. Okay? So we're gonna, I got Mike helping with the Major. We're packing up ASAP. And then we're gonna also need someone
I'll get Feeder a hand.
To help carry Feeder's stuff down.
Feeder's going too?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because he's the trekking guy, right? So he's out.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to try to throw them all on the bus.
That's a big chopper coming in, yeah?
MI-17.
Yeah. It'll carry a bus.
It's a flying bus. That's what we flew into Lake Talk in. So
yeah.
It's going to come in here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Pretty full on.
Nice. I'm glad I got the camera charged, eh?
Yeah. Are you filming right now?
I am, dude. Of course. I'm making you a star. I like your commentary and the play-by-play. Helps.
Yeah, right.
You're not like, you know, Fabrizio's, he's like, hey, turn that thing on.
Turn that Okay.
Yeah, and Chris really knows what he's talking about when it comes to these helicopters.
Okay, so feed is going down also, yeah?
Yeah, he and Fabrizio, a year prior, were actually on a rescue mission into Lake Talk to try and get to a Spanish climber that had had a fall. And so they ended up using a number of different choppers, flying them in, dropping things off. That's a whole epic story in and of itself. Fabrizio had to swim into a frozen tarn pretty much to pull out the food and things that they dropped from the chopper right into a little lake, essentially.
I mean, there's not much to it structurally, is there? Well, that's what I said. I mean, unless we just took it down and flattened it or something.
I think we need somebody to go in and hang on to it.
Yeah,
Ben, I nominate you.
Yeah.
What are they doing down there? Is that where they're planning to land it?
Yeah, they're going to land the machine there. I think it should be good for it.
So can it sit there for a while?
He's probably going to sit there, yeah.
I mean,
He's not gonna, he won't power down, I don't think, will he?
He's not going to shut down now.
No, he'll just like sit there and go
He'll probably be on the ground for about 20 seconds at the most.
This is Nicky, so when
We actually spent probably an hour and a half moving rocks, you know, trying to make as level a place as there could be, and, you know, not too terribly close to our camp so it didn't all get blown away. It was impressive. People came from all the camps pretty much and pitched in to try and put in a chopper landing pad because you never know when they might need it.
Yeah, exactly. And this was not this is not what you typically think of as the type of helicopter you get landing these
More
camps.
as the heli comes.
This
No.
MI-17 is enormous. Like Chris was saying, it's a bus. It's the size of a bus.
It's a huge chopper, and I had set up to film the landing from here about 70, 100 yards away, and ended up that they were like, you want to be 200-300 yards away, you'll get just the rotor wash will blow you away, especially out there where you're just unprotected by everything and there's crosswinds as it is. So I said, yeah, okay, maybe I'll set up a little further back. But it was cool. Everybody came over and pitched in and put out a platform, got a flag so they could kind of gauge the winds.
Get the blood going. They actually have an H they're putting in.
You're good. Everything's good.
Yeah, it's also funny how when you are at base camp for a bit, how an event like this could be so exciting for everyone. It's something to do. It's something. It's true entertainment.
Were you in the baton?
Yeah.
The flag corps in high school?
It's coming out down.
And the weather was coming in too, so that became an issue for trying to get people out in short order.
Whoosh, blow me away.
You got to remember, we're 8 days of hiking in, about 100 miles almost. So when you look down the glacier, it might seem crystal blue for as far as you can see down the Concordia, but then you make that turn and there'd just be horrific weather down around the way. So.
You guys will feel the wind of this thing. It's full on.
This is what they call the flying bus, yeah?
Flying bus.
MI-17.
Actually, MI-17 is Russian for the bus that fly.
The bus that fly.
This is a flying tank. MI-8 is a flying bus.
Now the 8 and the 17 have the same drivetrain.
Okay.
Right? So the same.
Which is bigger though? The 17. Yeah. The 17 is a tank.
How do you know so much about choppers?
You've been at
last summer, so
we
saw a lot. The MI-8 is a heavy lifter, right?
Yeah.
And it'll sling in huge loads. The 17 is more of a troop carrier, goods carrier.
True love. She's gotta go.
That was Nikki saying goodbye to her man before. He stayed for the rest of the expedition, as was planned. And actually, he came over to K2 with us. Garth.
Is there gonna be a lot of women on the trip? No.
He's actually a Brit that flies for
I had a girlfriend that used to get so
British Airlines.
jealous. She'd be like, "I don't know what you're doing on these trips," and I was like, "I'm in a tent with another stinky dude."
Yeah.
You know, it was like, come on.
Exactly. Don't worry.
Yeah. I've never once been like, it ain't cheating if it's with that dude. You know, it's never crossed my mind.
And still to this date, my wife can't understand why I would rather go spend time in the snow and ice with other stinky dudes than potentially on a beach with her. So.
This is where we are.
This is where we are. Yes, it is.
Man, it's amazing, huh?
Holy balls.
All right.
It comes fast.
That is big. Said it was a big one.
And the air's still pretty thin up here. I mean, we're at, 16,000 feet plus, and it's impressive to see a chopper that big come in. And I wouldn't have expected to see anything that big personally, but.
Oh yeah. Ow.
Actually, that big green tent.
That is a big chopper, dude.
Foreground there is Mike Horn's tent. He was there doing Broad Peak K2 attempt as well. So he camped kind of in between. That's about the midpoint between Broad Peak Base Camp and K2.
Nikki and hello and Fita all going out. Hovering.
I don't think he likes the leading setup.
All kinds of people jockeying for a good view.
Yeah, he is. He's going to set it down.
Yeah.
I just thought he would come in at a side angle rather than this head-on thing.
Oh, the wind's blowing straight up though.
Yeah, that's true.
You can feel that.
Yeah, we're like 250, 300 yards away on the other side of a berm, and the wind just kicked up. It's impressive because they were on the ground for, I mean, you can see the back end never actually sets down.
Look, I mean, look at the rotor span. That has to be bloody 30 meters. 20 meters at least.
It's a big old chopper. Oh man, he's not even all the way touched down, is he? Back in came around a little bit.
Yeah, still moving.
Maybe he's grinding it in, you know? Like, you know?
Making a platform.
Yeah. He's big enough he probably could. I'm glad we put it up there at their base camp.
They got their tents tied in pretty well.
Man, that's a big rotor. Big blades.
That was
Got him already?
That was real time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they didn't ever fully set it down. They grabbed 4 actually.
The size of that thing.
Check that out.
Yeah, at the same time, it's just dwarfed by the scenery. It just gets swallowed up. It's huge, and then it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it really gives you an idea of scale.
That, my friend, is a heli rescue at Broad Peak Base Camp. It's a little bit ridiculous, but it was quick and easy, I think, if they actually took them. If they got them on board that fast, that'll be impressive.
I'm sure they did. So, Wow. Yeah, that's some nice excitement for you guys. Glad that they had that resource available, because when someone's not doing well, and you want to get them down as fast as possible, and obviously that is the fastest way possible.
Yes, it is.
Up here. And much more comfortable than having to kind of grind it out on several days of walking. So
yeah.
But okay, so the area, the base camp is down what, four people now. But next week we're going to see just how large the actual team is with all the clients. Because I think you had around 400 people there. I mean, it's just amazing.
It looks like it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll spend some time in the dining tent with the throngs of people, and what looks like a really good time. So look forward to showing that to everyone. Get some more kind of base camp culture in on this trip, because once again, base camp is a very important aspect of all big mountain climbs. So
oh yes.
So it's gonna be fun. So thanks as always, Brian.
Yep.
And
Thanks, Jonathan.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye. The Rest of Everest has been watched millions and millions of times all over the world since 2006, and it's all been free, but it's not free for me. If you're a fan, then let me know. You can like The Rest of Everest on Facebook, write a review on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, or even help me pay the bills with a financial donation. It doesn't take much, and quite literally, your donations make this show possible. They honestly pay for everything. You can make a one-time donation or set up a monthly contribution through my website. Help me out, and I'll give you a download of our film Everest: The Other Side, as well as some other goodies. Thanks as always to our announcer Marlon May from marlonmay.com, and to Wendy Wu for providing the show's theme song. Find her on iTunes or at wendywoo.com.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information about the show and upcoming expeditions, be sure to visit therestofeverest.com.